All right, hello there, Victoria 3 players. I'm having a good game, and I haven't been able to have one in quite some time, what with the crashing and figuring out mods but it's stable. I've got everything working pretty well, and I'm having a good game. As you know, I love to play France. One, because if I'm familiar with it, when new mods come out, I'm sensitive to how things are different. And two, I just love playing France. So I love it. And this is why I get to do big kid things with my country. I started without a block, built one out, and am now running a lot of South America. I've got North Africa in hand. I beat up Prussia, took away Rhineland, so that way I have a nice green color in between my blue and their almost same blue, so it's no longer confusing. Egypt got salty with me, so I fixed them up, and now I'm expanding in East Africa. Life is good. Now, it's even weirder, or not weird, gooder, or something. It's funner because right now the Ottoman Empire here is in a war with Spain. Now Spain is in my power block, but it's not actually a protectorate or anything. So anyway, so Spain started the war to pick up Tripoli and Tunis. I'm gonna have to talk to them about Tunis because that's supposed to be mine. But hey, anyway, then the British got involved and said, all right, fine, we're going to humiliate Spain and enforce investment rights. And then the Spanish came back and said, well, we're going to pick up Mosquito Kingdom and we're going to conquer Gibraltar. And then Austria-Hungary got involved and they'd like to humiliate Great Britain. And who else is involved in this mess here? Uh, yeah, okay, so the Spanish puppets are in there and the British puppets. Noticeably missing the East India Company because it's not a puppet, it's a colony. The mod that keeps colonies from getting involved in wars working as designed. It makes things more balanced so that way when England has a war, it's not a curb stomp and they spread everywhere. They got to be careful with how they play, and they only get their navy and their army, and they get what are the other ones here? United Tribes, Sierra Leone. They get Western Australia. Yeah, they get the Australias and Ionian Islands. That's it. They don't get nobody else. Nobody. I like that. Anyway, so they're all busy over here, and I don't like how the Ottomans have expanded into Ethiopia. That's why I'm moving down this way to protect my supply routes to Asia, because I know eventually one day supply routes are going to be relevant, and we're going to have to control these choke points. And when I go over here to this particular state, let's do diplomatic advance. I hit conquer state. I don't see Great Britain in the guaranteed supporting column. This may be a time to pick away at the Ottomans. Okay, so I've got all this to say here because this is the point in the game I'm at. We're like, oh, do I roll the dice? Do I go for it? Do I? Because it is still 1861, so I personally don't start going ham all over the West African and Central African nations until such time. Yes, I did pick up Zanzibar, but Paradox has got to fix that colonization of Africa. But anyway, the game being as it is, it does go slowly here, so I'm fine with that. It feels historical. Did have the war with the USA, and somehow Russia, my rival, supported Mexico against the USA, also Russia's rival, enemy of my enemy. Well, okay, we'll just look the other way right now. and out of it, I picked up a French-speaking population indigenous to North America. Yes, vive la Louisiane. Because I tried to take Texas back, but Mexico wanted it all. So okay, hey, whatever. You guys are in my sphere. You're cool. You're cool. And in case the Mexicans ever break away, it gives me a base to go and take Texas from. So yeah, that's fun. But yeah, so oh wow. Definitely the diplomatic options in 1.9 really do the job. When we go and checking on existing treaties, I can renegotiate and say, hey, you know what? I'd like to add a few more things. I need to get military access because I may have to go through them to get to Austria-Hungary. Let's drop that down. Let's shake them down for some money. I got an obligation off of the deal here. I can refresh on that. There's lots of things I can try here. Now, some of them, like state transfer, um, it's not really working out like I thought it would. Like, I can't propose it. Somehow the AI will propose state transfers to me, and it's kind of a take it or leave it kind of deal. They'll also exchange their rights for an area, but because I've got a mod that allows them to reclaim those rights, I just wind up with a competing claim. Like Denmark sold me their rights in the Niger region, and so like great, I got a claim there, and then Denmark went back and claimed it again, so now I don't have claim on it. No, I do on Danish Togo. I have a claim there, but now that I have a claim there, I can't pick up Danish Togo in a tree. And so there's some bugs in it, but overall, being able to swap land and stuff is a good idea, and definitely having the, the actual trade deals, like we're going to transfer goods and move those around. I really like that. It keeps me from having to constantly click on the market, because that's a great fix. Not having to constantly click on the market. And if I want to secure a strategic supply, I need to get good relations with the supplier and build it out, or just build more of it, more of that good myself. Like for example, paper here. If we take a look at the world market for paper, I'm it. I'm the one who's exporting stuff, and everybody else is importing, and we're making a lot of money on it. And I'm sitting here on 10K of paper. I've got 13K of buy orders, and almost 3K of those are from out of country. And I'm doing free trade. And now it's time to say, that's it, guys. I had fun with free trade. It really built my economy out. It's over. I'm going to start shutting down investment deals. I'm going to start I'm working to get protectionism back. I had to go to free trade for a while because that's the way it was in the early 1800s there. Now that we're in the mid 1800s and we're getting a more radicalized group, it's just in time because the economy really needs it. We have got to slap a huge tariff on that paper. So if you are going to buy it from France, you're going to pay for that paper. You're going to pay for that paper. What could I stand to get off of it here? Well, can't do it because but probably the opposite of that. So maybe 41K. I like that. All right. So yes, definitely having the subventions and the tariffs, being able to say we can make you pay more in both ways, or make you pay more one way and less the other way, or forget about it, or pay less both ways. That would be weird. To just like we're gonna subsidize the imports, and we're going to subvent the exports. I don't know who would do that, unless you're just trying to wreck the game. Oh no, please don't do that. No. Please don't try to do something crazy. Let's play it historically. But being able to go, having this be a two-way street with plenty of lanes, I like that. So yeah, once I get my protectionism back, I'm going to come into this and fix my paper situation. The other thing I'm going to make sure I do, I mentioned this in passing, was the foreign investment. Okay, so, oops, let's try to get over, there we go. Okay, so we have got investment in other countries here, and yeah, there we go. So yeah, I'm building in Rhineland, Austria-Hungary, Bolivia. You can see I control some significant portions of their economies in some of those. But this part here, about 6.3% of my economy is owned by other countries. And I played some other games or some other runs of Victoria 3 where I didn't restrict the foreign investment, and I wound up with this fantastically huge economy that was like equal to 7 other countries in the world, all added, the next 7 in line all add up. They barely touch my 2 billion. Wow. But like half of it was foreign investment, and they kept building tool factories and well, not all tool factories, but it was like that. Just like, this is stuff I don't need, and you're building more of it because this is productive. Okay, we need to stop that. And the way to stop that was not to yell at the game or anything. It was to look within and ask, what have I done wrong? What I did wrong was I let those foreign investment deals run too long. That's what I did wrong. You got to turn off that tap before you get to 1900. So that's what I'm doing here. Because I'm okay with 6% of my economy being run by foreigners. And as long as they're not building any more, I'm okay with that. I don't have to worry about nationalizing, for example, Great Britain, Prussia, or the USA because it's just such a small chunk of my economy. Who cares? Austria, they're my ally. They're my number one. They don't have a lot of money either. Let them keep what they got there. So I'm fine with that. And my being able to invest in other countries, sure, I'm all for that. If you want to take your money, investors, and go invest elsewhere, you do that. Don't build stuff I don't need here. I definitely feel like I've got more control of my economy, and I can make more dumb decisions with my economy, which is great. Speaking of dumb decisions, let's talk about political and economic cycles. I can now make some really horrible decisions. Oh, the consequences of changing interest rates in PEC have just been upped. Before, it was just like, oh, well, if I increase it, just like, oh, I have an economic boom, I should probably increase my interest rate so that way we control the exuberance and things come down naturally. Boom. And if we have a recession, I should decrease the interest rate and then but raise that interest rate as soon as we're out of recession. Textbook stuff. I felt okay with that. Well, because it was textbook, but I knew it could have been more. And PEC's mod maker Chris Rhoda has in fact done that. Now if I decrease interest rates, I can see what they are. It's not a number. It's not a number. It's instead a general consensus. Are they obscenely low? Are they extremely low? Are they low? Are they medium? Are they high? Are they extremely high? Are they obscenely high? We've got a little, 1 to 7 rating there. And I think that's great because this keeps it relative. So we don't have to worry about how a 2% interest rate in one era is not the same as a 2% interest rate in another era. Just keeping it there. But with the interest rates, as they drop, yes, we get more confidence in the market, but we also get a lot more volatility, and we also get private loaning and loan defaults will be impacted. And I start to get events for large loan defaults, and I have to ask, am I going to bail them out or not? And if I bail them out, there are political consequences, both good and bad. People who want the bailout, thank you, we'll vote for you again. People who don't, government's backing up all the fat cats. Hey, sometimes you got to back the fat cats to keep the little cats in business. Guys, you don't see the bigger picture here. Okay, I don't either because I'm on the make. But anyway, yeah, the whole thing is very strong. This is just the interest rates. He's also working on 2 separate Great Depression events. The first one is the big one at the end, the big economic boss fight. We can't build great wars in the game just yet, although the 1913 The Gathering Storm people, they're doing that. They're actually building a great war and making that a mod. But to actually have the game say, okay, it's 1905, time for great wars, we haven't gotten that yet. But if we can get Great Depressions, then sure, you built up your economy to 2 billion by 1905, 1910, whatever. You think you're fantastic, and then whammo, a Great Depression hits. And it's not just simply, oh, click this button and things are going down. It's a series of events. It is rich economic content. And it's a real just knuckle buster there. It'll crack your knees. It's hitting you with a baseball bat. It will be an excellent aspect because I think what makes games better is when the challenge is in them and the challenges are appropriate and challenging. Consider if you're playing without the political and economic changes mod, you're basically playing it on story mode. You see a lot of map and you're not really getting the full economic version. And I know a lot of people are really hype about the Better Politics mod. And I look that over and go, wow, that too. If you're playing without that, you're kind of playing on story mode. I'm on honor mode here. Well, not, I don't have a single save, but you get the picture there. I'm playing with a good level of difficulty here. And being able to have these modded and toggled allows you to get comfortable with the basics of the game, and then you say, all right, now let's put in the economy. Oh no, it's totally different. Everything I learned means nothing. Yeah, good. See, now you're just like a regular person in the world. And I really do hope that what's in those mods gets incorporated into the base game. Now, if you ask, hey, will you ever play BPM? No, because I play PEC. I'm an economist plays, so I play the economy. I like that. To me, that's way more important right now, and it gives me something that's more than just flavor. It gives me a grit of a challenge there, and with the Great Depression coming, and also once he's done with that, he's going to work on Long Depression. So it's sort of like I don't want to say a mini boss, because it was itself a boss fight for the last quarter of the 19th century. From 1873 to 1893, it was terrible going globally, economically. And so he's working on a Long Depression set of events once he's done with the Great Depression. But that Great Depression, oh man, oh wow. It's chef's kiss. Yes. So anyway, so there's many ways I can screw up my economy here. And now the stakes are higher because we've got personal lending involved, and when the people get raked over the coals with their defaults and stuff, it just makes the game all the more painful. It really should be something where at the end of the game, you are struggling to keep a political balance the same as you are at the beginning of the game. If we don't have this, then once you get a certain level of GDP, everybody's happy because you become the most prosperous nation in the world, and you're a great power and you do whatever you want. So nobody complains. We need complaining throughout the game because that's historical. Okay, so that's the PEC hype I got there. I'll just also make a little bit of industry realism hype for Expedient Falcon. Please, guys, Paradox, if any one of you should watch this video, make all your industry split out the way industry realism does, because it makes it easier to manage everything and it makes it more sensible. Some of the stuff you have is just a fiat and it doesn't really matter. So get rid of the stuff that doesn't matter and get the stuff that makes it easier to play in there, and we're fine. We're fine with it. Okay, that's my plug there for that. Now, the Waddles War rework. He's been working on it, and now I can see here my war support. And oh yeah, this is something that's now vital in my games. It's like I didn't know I didn't know I was playing the game wrong until somebody made the mod for the war rework, and now I know. I am so hype on this one here. When I see my war support, this gives me an idea about how, basically, are people going to flock to my banners during times of conflict? Now, during times of peace, my manpower will lift back up. Oh yeah, that's the other one I can see now too. What's my manpower? How many people do I have to draw on? I've got 406 battalions, but 396 manpowers. So some of these units are not completely built back out yet because of all the casualties I sustained in that war where I picked up a Louisiana. I have to take it easy now. I want to avoid big conflicts because my manpower dipped way low in that one. I actually had over 1 million casualties in that war. And yeah, that was, I get an All Quiet on the Western Front achievement. Like, what? Yeah, you've had over 1 million casualties. Wounded and dead. That's the total. I didn't have 1 million dead. I had wounded and dead. But still, oh, wow. And that impacts your war score, or your war support score, I should say. Well, that does also impact your war score. But yeah, we've got a lot of radicalization. 11.4 million radicals. This cuts way into that. I have a lot of anti-war political movements. I need to be careful here. Having small little fights in Africa, I can manage. But if I go for the prize and try to pick off pieces of the Ottoman Empire that are left exposed here that also threaten their expansion into the same area that I have a strategic interest in, if I risk a small war, I can get away with it. But if it becomes a big one, if England gets involved, but they're also fighting Austria and Spain right now, so maybe I'll be okay with that. Maybe Russia will just jump in on my side anyway because they hate England and they hate Ottomans. Or do they still hate them? I have to check diplomacy. Here I am talking about all these cool things and rivalry with England and Ottomans. So yes, we should really work at not being rivals, Russia. We should really work that over. Let's see here. Let's start improving. Maybe I should just improve relations and drop the rivalry and end the embargo. You know, because let's do that. I can. I have plenty of points there. And when can I drop the embargo? Oh, I got 7 months to go with that. Okay. And ooh, I'm at minus a 150. Well, maybe here because England keeps messing me up here. I've never gone above level 4. It's time. Stop improving relations there. They're rivals of mine. Let's make them a rival. And I'm going to go with France, Austria, Russia as the. Hopefully, I can make the big three out of that. I am an empire after all, and even if I elect a government, well, we'll fix that out too. But yeah, let's drop that. And Hungary, we're still cool. We're still cool, Hungary. All right, really friendly. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, if I can fix Russia up here, and if I drop the embargo, it'll make it even faster. We'll be all right with that. But yeah, so yeah, those are all coming out of the Waddle War mod that I have here that makes these considerations. So I need to reduce my anger internally. I need to build up some better allies. You just saw me pivot from Russia to England. I was getting, or from England to Russia. Just make friends with the enemy of my other two enemies. Why not? Besides, they got a lot of wood there. I may need more wood because I'm going to make more paper, even though I'm going to fix the export. Anyway. Yeah, all that. Oh, and speaking of changing the way I play the game, this convoy system, I love it. I really love it because it adds that difficulty. I'll just say in passing, Civilization 7 is having some struggles with low player count. I'm one of those low player counts. I was playing it earlier and like, okay, I've mastered it. Now what? And there are people who complained like, hey, the era system is just not working. It's too clunky. I don't like it. I want to play the one civ all the way through, and I don't want this eras in between to mess things up. And I thought, no, I kind of like having the eras, having it be where things have fallen and changed, and now you're building up something from that. And with the hint they dropped that they might actually make those eras more difficult, the era transitions more difficult, I thought, I would play that game. I want to play that game. I want to be the one where I build everything out and have a beautiful thing that's crumbling at the sides, but I still get a lot of points for it. And then cutscene, we come back, the crumbling has happened, and it was bad. Everybody's had a huge fallback. Now you got to rebuild. I want to play that game. And that's what this is going to do here, because by adding good restrictions that feel historical, we get the right flavor in the game. So with the PEC mod putting in the interest rate issues and then adding depressions, those are historically flavored, really good stuff there. The treaties give us some great historical flavor. I'm pivoting around with Russia and England and keeping track of how... I used to play diplomacy, so I have this little 7-pointed system of vertices and lines to keep track of all the alliances here for the great powers. I need to put an 8th one out for the USA. So yes, I have this in my mind as I'm making my treaties. I'm planning all this stuff out here, this dimensionality. That is a thing now with the diplomacy system because it does move very fluidly. Okay, well now the convoys. In my war with America, I was running short of supply and I had to keep building ports. No matter what the cost was, I had to build those ports to keep those boys in supply, and that helped me win the war. That and hitting the USA where I found their Blockading is nice, but first destroy their merchant marine, destroy their convoy so they can't trade, and then you can start the blockade. Or maybe I just need to build more of a navy, especially if I'm going to go against the British. Oh no, I've got to build a navy now. But yeah, but well, at least I have my convoys. Yes, that's it. I've got my convoys, so I want to keep them. I've got to build a navy to protect them because if I'm going to have to send forces overseas, then I got to all these lines, everything. That's great. The convoys are a supply system, and it's very easy to work with. Do I have enough convoys? Then send ships over, send boys overseas. If I don't, then I have to keep my foreign involvements limited. Otherwise, they just starve over there, and then my manpower go down, and then my recruitability goes down, and yeah, things get bad fast. So I've got a huge excess of convoys right now, but in a big conflict with the forces that I have. I mean, I've got like 101K, 95K. We got some big units here, and I need to keep them in supply when they go overseas. So definitely having that in play. Now what we need is some kind of range limitation that changes over time. The fleet range at the beginning of the game, it's the age of sail, but you still have to have places where you can pick up water and food along the way. And for the most part, France is good to go there because they've got little stations in Senegal and the Windward Coast, and then around here in Réunion, and they've got a little station here on the coast of India and Tahiti. Okay, cool. Those are nice. But we need to have something that limits the range based on how many coaling stations you have once you get to the age of steam, and I am in the age of steam. I need to be able to put coal supplies on some of these Pacific islands. I should have something in here that compels me to say I need to grab those now. Right now I don't. If I go and look at all the potential colonies I have, yeah, I can build as many as I want out here. And right now in the game, there's not much reason to do so. So I won't. They really don't give me anything. Ooh, but wait. I can do Niger. All right, we're doing that. We got it. Okay, good. Now, with that, I do have the thing that allows me to claim the colonial state. This is, at best, a workaround, but it's a necessary one. Now, no one else will expand to Niger. I've got a claim there. Again, African colonialization needs to be worked out to where we can actually resolve competing claims diplomatically, like they did back then, and actually have conferences where we pick parts of Africa. There was one mod that did that, but it kind of railroaded it to where France is going to get this part, and England's going to get that part, and someone's going to get Congo, and just after that. We need something that allows us to not railroad exactly which region, which country is going to get, but to be able to say whoever's a big player gets to start expanding and claiming, and then like next to no infamy for knocking over African principalities, because that's the way it was. Anyhow, but yeah, we need something that will limit the range of navies. Right now, limiting the amount of troops that can go over, this is strong. Now we actually do have Crimean War-like situations, or pre-Crimean War, where you would just not invade another country, even though you had a big enough navy and a big enough army. Logistically, you'd get killed. You didn't have enough support ships for it. Now we can get into that. Now we build this out along with our regular navy, and we get things going better. So I want to see more of that. The logistics in the game, we're almost there. African colonization, that's a huge thing there. The economic things from PEC, and really the political things from BPM, I want to see more of those brought into the base game. That would be great, and industry realism as well. And then ultimately, somebody at Paradox has got to figure out how to build a great war system. So when we get to the end of the game, we've already gone through the Long Depression, we've already scrambled for Africa, and we've got our coaling stations, and everything's ready to go. Then 1905 rolls around, and everybody's jittery because something could trigger a great war, and it will be tremendous. It will be it will be the huge payoff for a game that goes from 1836 to 1936, having a great war, and then bam, a Great Depression. That would be the best finish for the game. We have content all the way through. We have historical feel all the way through. Then you get your Morgenrot on top of that, and your archaeologicaling and your geologicaling and your astronomying and your chemisting and your physicing and all your sporting and all the otherings all around in that. It is just so much more flavor in there with Morgenrot. Yeah, so that's where I am right now with what are the changes in 1.9 and what do I look forward to now in 1.10. I've been going for half an hour. Why not go for a little bit more? We're right here on top of Austria and the Ottoman Empire. These guys, along with Russia and the Poles and Prussia, this stuff needs to be flying apart. We need to have reasons to establish protectorates, reasons to establish colonial governments, because if you don't, it's really bloody in the streets. Right now, I've got no intention of making a French Niger or French Senegal or French East Africa company. Why? It's why. They're just guys are going to do crazy things and mess me up. But in 1.10, they're going to control their population, and I don't have radicals. They get to deal with it. So that's one. Also over here, Rhineland. Should I actually own it, or should I have it as a protectorate? The answer, I should have it as a protectorate. They're German. They don't really want to be ruled by the French because nationalism. But if I keep them in my pocket, then I can stop Germany from forming and hopefully, fix things up there. And Austria and Ottomans, we know they had historical issues that made them just fly apart, as did Russia. Putting those into the game is going to be very strong, and making it where, well, essentially, nationalist movements are racial movements, racist movements. I know that a lot of times they say, oh, no, we don't want to denigrate another culture. We just want to promote our own. Yeah, but how do you promote your own? Well, by denigrating the other culture, but we don't say it out loud. That is what has to happen, that you do see the rise of nationalist events hand in hand with migration controls. Not just we need to not let other people in, we need to keep our people from walking away. The USA was asking questions like, who are we letting into our borders? Well, the nations of Europe that were going, why are the people going there? They need to stay here. I mean, yeah, if the poorest people leave, that's fine. They didn't have jobs here anyway, but we need to keep the top talent in here. Yeah. So migration controls will go hand in hand with those, and as well as hostility towards other cultures, other linguistic groups. Those are going to happen. Those were real things in this time period. I don't like it, but I feel that having that kind of nationalism and the way that they're going to do it, I think, works out to where it's not some kind of ultra-right fantasy that can play out. You would be able to say, all right, I want to try to control that. I want to go for a multicultural society. Well, after 1.10, it will be very difficult to do that politically. And I think that's a fantastic part of the game. Again, something that keeps the politics crashing into each other, where we are not... I shouldn't be able to have all these groups happy here at the top of my heap. They should be angry at each other, and they're probably going to in a few more years. They just got rid of the Bonapartiste faction, and now they're starting to push for more democracy. The radicalism is rising. But anyway, having that 1.10, the nationalist content as well as the Ottoman and Austrian content, I think is going to be some fantastic stuff that will help the mid-game really develop. We've got the beginning game. I think 1.9 fixed that entirely. 1.10 with the Austrian and Ottoman is going to fix the mid-game, and then that means future DLCs are going to get the end game. Hey, Victoria 3 released, what was it, 2 years ago? Was it? Was it? Was it? I think it was. Maybe 3. Anyway, it's on track right now. It's on track to becoming the kind of game that Paradox has 3 years after release. 2, 3, 4 years after release, the games are really, really good because they've had time to iron things out with a huge player base, and they've got DLC released that addresses some steps along the way. Yes, it means you pay more for your game. That's the AAA method and model. I'm not going to complain about it here because there's plenty of other people complaining about it elsewhere. However, it gets me the enjoyment I want. I'm willing to pay in these installments to get the game that I want. I'm happy with that. I'm very happy with it. And I see it heading in a direction that once they have all those main things done and we've got plenty of good mods, I'm going to be playing this thing for a long time. Just like I did with Victoria 2. This is the investment I was willing to make, and I'm getting it. Anyway, so I need to build a fleet and take the Ottomans out of East Africa and work on my relationship with Russia. Those are the 3 things I need to do today. Happy Labor Day! I get to play! So like, comment, subscribe, be good to one another, be good to yourself, and be kind. There we go. If you don't like, comment, or subscribe, at least if you're kind to other people and gentle and forgiving, then that's even better. I don't care about my algorithm, I care about yours. What are you putting in? How are you making yourself? Be a good person today. I know you can do it. We'll see you later. Cheerio. And how do I turn this off? Oh, I press these buttons here.